here. I would love to hand the baton from Crystal to Miss Nicole Gaytree.
Hello, everyone. So I am Nicole Gayatri, and I am a chosen single mama to an amazing 4-year-old son. We live here in beautiful Costa Rica, where I host retreats and teach women to embody their magic by living their fuck yes. And for me, really, that means that you are living in your magic. You are living in alignment with who you are versus who the world says you should be. So I love the question that we were just dealing with, and I'm going to drop into that a little bit more. But I also co-create and work with an online platform for coaches, healers, and authors, and basically everyone under the sun. And we are bringing more value to our clients there to raise the consciousness and frequency of humanity. So I'm really excited to jump in with all of you today because we are coming from all different walks of life and entrepreneurship. And I really want to kind of piggyback off this question because it's I think there's a lot to it. And hearing other people speak, I'm seeing how very different people can have these really different opinions on how to find that, as it's called most of the time, work-life balance. And for me, as I said, I'm a single mama. And so as Jen just mentioned, and as Crystal said too, finding those pockets of time, and I think Erica mentioned it too, structuring your life in a certain way so that you are being a mom at some point, or being a dog mom, or having that me time, that time for self-care is so important, as well as structuring some time for your business. And at the same time, I think it's really important for us to not get stuck in whatever schedule we've made and to be in flow with whatever our day happens to be. Because again, I'm a single mama. When I first started out, I didn't have the ability to have childcare as well. Here in Costa Rica, that's not something that's provided. My son is only 4, so he was really needing my attention. So it was really important to me to figure out how I could find flow in all of that and really still have fun, right? Because my whole business structure, my whole offering is teaching moms to have fun so that they can bring that into their life. When you're living in that pocket of flow and still having enough structure, I call it the masculine and feminine balance. So I'd like to speak a little bit more into that, or I'd like to ask all of you, what are the things that you do for yourself during the day to recharge so that you can be giving all of yourself, or having enough energy to give to your business and clients, and then also having enough energy to give to yourself and your kids? Lisa, I would love to hear from you.
Hi, I'm Lisa Sitek. I am a physical therapist. I have my own business called All About You Physical Therapy. And when I first started my business, I recognized the need for me to basically practice what I preach and be in good shape in order to promote, physical fitness to my patients. And so I designed my workday such that I do not see any patients before 11 a.m. And I pay myself essentially to work out in the mornings. I allow myself that 3 hours in the morning to do my workout, so I am strong enough to, carry my treatment table into patients' houses and to lift legs and do what I need to do as a physical therapist. I schedule my patients around how, to me, it's so important to be fit that that's part of my day. So I just want to throw that out there.
I love that, Lisa. I love that because I think it's really like, I do the same thing with my son. It's like he gets my undivided attention for 4 hours in the morning, and again for 4 hours later in the day, and usually an hour in between. So when we can schedule that in, it's like living, speaking, right, walking the talk.
Right. You have to prioritize things, you have to make the time for it.
Awesome. Michelle, love to hear from you.
There was a question in the chat, so I want to do that first before I talk. Who do you use?
Who do you use to hold accountable when needed? Yes. So personally, I hold myself accountable, right? And I have an accountability team. So I use, again, with my online platform that I work with, there's a lot of different people out there who are, in the chats all day long where we can bounce off of each other. And if I need extra time, then I reach out. I also am a fan of, I personally don't really like screens for children, but I am a fan of setting my child up on a Zoom call with his grandparents. So I like to get creative in how I can make that space and time. Right now, my child is watching a movie, right? So being a flow, again, bringing it back to being in flow and what works for you and still aligns with your values and who you are, and allows you to have that space and time. Go ahead, Michelle.
So one of the things is when you have kids and you have dogs, you have distractions that will take you away from that. But there's some people whose kids are older, right? Maybe they don't have that significant other living at their house. And so they have a hard time getting that balance because the balance is kind of out of alignment. Does that make sense? So I've used scheduling and accountability. I have a coach that is fantastic with accountability because that helps, right? Because if you don't have someone in the house to hold you accountable or a friend that you can reach out to hold you accountable, it makes it difficult. Do you have any suggestions on someone who doesn't have the distractions in the house because they don't have kids that they need to tend to? And so is there a better way to find that balance?
I set a timer, to be honest. I love the idea of having a 4-hour work week. That was like one of the first books I read before I became an entrepreneur, was The 4-Hour Work Week by Timothy Ferriss. And I love here that Carb Sen is just on. I consciously spend my first hour or so on meditation, empowering videos when the dogs are sleeping from 3 to 4 a.m. That's awesome. And taking that time whenever you can. So I think it's scheduling. And then when you know you're in work time, I set myself a timer some days, because if I know if I have a lot on my plate that day, then I will be tempted to keep going. Or if someone texts me and it's like, can we just jump on a call? And it's kind of near the end of my time. I want to help them, right? But I also need to get going because I've got other stuff to do. Or I told myself I was going to the beach today. So setting that timer can be really helpful. I see a lot of people have their hands up. So let's go with Jen next.
Awesome. I just want to piggyback on the timer idea. I'm a huge fan of calendar blocks. So same concept, but I block my calendar off if I know that I have work to do. As a service provider, my client calls are always blocked off, but if I have to actually get work done, if it's not on my calendar, I'm not going to do it, because I'll just look at my calendar and be like, oh, I have free time. I'm going to take a walk, or I'm going to go for a hike, or I'm going to take a nap. Naps are my downfall. But they're also very needed. So to your point, your original question of what do I do to fill my bucket? I either take a nap or I take a walk. But blocking my calendar is incredibly important to me, because if I have tasks that have to get done, I pick and choose when I'm going to do it. And I pick and choose based on my energetic flow. Mm-hmm. So if I know that I'm most productive in the morning, I'll get it done in the morning. If it's a task that I don't really need a lot of brain power on, I'll schedule it for the afternoon. I also don't really believe in a standard work week. As a service provider, I only see my clients during certain days and times, but I tend to take naps in the afternoon, which means I'm then working from like 7 to 9 because I get a second wind. So it's all about holding yourself accountable to a schedule that works for you, not the conventional schedule, but then taking the time during the day. So Erica, you mentioned earlier, like sometimes you take an hour to go run an errand. You're like, oh, is this okay? I'm like, yes. Yes, it is. Because if you don't do it then, when are you going to do it? Like, if you have to go to the dentist, go to the dentist. But it's just making sure that you're holding yourself accountable to deliverables that matter, and also not sweating the deliverables that don't.
I love that, Jen. Thank you so much for sharing, and completely agree. Again, that all comes back to that flow and that alignment with who you are as an individual person. You're an entrepreneur. This is your business. And most likely you started this for your time freedom, for your family freedom, because you wanted to be able to write life on your terms. And in order to do that, you have to follow your needs. Michelle, what would you like to say?
And give yourself grace. Things happen. You have to give yourself grace. I mean, you can't control everything around you, and you're doing the best you can, and you're worth it. So take that time to give yourself the things that you need, because if you forget about yourself, you're going to burn out, and it's not going to do anybody any good.
Exactly. I love that. Yes, Leona. Oh, and Sophia. I'm going to go Leona first and then Sophia after.
Awesome. I just want to, pose another question. What happens when you run out of you? It's not going to be pretty. Ask me how I know in August 2004. So it is crucial and highly important for you to prioritize you, because nobody else will, and there's not a second you to do what you need to do.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much for saying that, because burnout is so real, especially for entrepreneurs. I think moms in general, right? It's like there's so much on the plate. But even if you don't have kids, you can easily burn out. Sophia, I would love to hear more from you.
Hey guys, I'm Sophia. I'm a true beauty coach. I work with women impacted by abuse and betrayal trauma. And I'm gonna just piggyback on what Leona said. Like, I've been on the burnout train. I've been on the burnout train. And I'm so excited just to hear all of us talk about the importance of flow. Because in the beginning, I was, okay, I'm an entrepreneur. Like, I have to do things by this time, stuck in that whole 9 to 5. Oh my God, I didn't get everything done before the kids were finished with school. Like, I failed, But then when life happens, you realize you can't work like that. Like, I can't work like that. Single mama here too. And a lot of times my day does not look like what you would think your typical day looks like. My kids come home and they know if mommy says, okay, mommy has some work to do right now. I need you all to take a minute and do something. Like, they know. And sometimes I even get them involved if it's something that they can do, organizing, I work with women belly to belly as far as makeup and glam and things like that. So if they know, okay, mommy needs me to help organize some product or something like that, then they can do it. And they get so excited about it. They get to see, oh, this is what mom's life is. I feel like I'm helping, and I'm teaching them skills too. My middle son, I have 3 boys. My middle son, he's really entrepreneurial minded. And so he's always asking me for a way to earn money, And so if I can help to bring him in and show him, some skills, it helps me out too. So I'm really all about that flow. And like we said, doing kind of what works for you in whatever season you're in.
Yes. Gosh, Sophia, I love that you brought all of that in, because that is one of my main points with the work that I do too, is like to bring your magic in and to be able to live your own fuck yes. If you're a mama, your kids have to be involved in that. You have to be giving them that time, and showing them what you do at work is really important to foster their excitement as well, and to help them have that entrepreneurial spirit or become those entrepreneurs. And when we let them in on our work side of life too, they feel special, they feel seen, and that makes everybody's life more fun, right?
Yeah.
Thank you so much, ladies. I really, really am so glad that we got to speak on this topic.
Thank you, Nicole. Absolutely phenomenal. And I apologize for pronouncing your last name wrong.
Oh, está bien. All good.
I love your new do. You look absolutely beautiful. I love the earrings. Gorgeous.
Thank you so much.